Hi, yes, let's talk about tektites, and specifically Moldavite. Now, a lot of people talk about it remember, there's different layers of consciousness, not just that exists, but also in the way that we live life. So, usually when people talk about Moldavite, they're talking from a very physical point of view. So, from like let's say it's just me, Nicole, my everyday life, I wake up, I have breakfast, that kind of stuff. That part of me is going to react to the feeling of it. So you're going to feel it first. You're going to probably see stories that people, something cool's happening. It's like that kind of thing. So it's like your first impression is usually this layer. Now, we're going to go deep because you asked me and I'm the deep lady. So I made this cute little collage background. Someone in the Czech Republic who carved into one, and they're an artist. It's cute. They have a couple of different things. And these are sometimes how they look when you find them as is. So what makes tektites and Moldavite and all the other different ones special and unique? Usually the thing that people do know about is that it is extraterrestrial. And when people throw that word around, you know how they say stuff like that. Actually, it just means that how it traveled, how was it formed, all that kind of thing. So that isn't the only thing. So what we actually have is the impact of our reality. So this kind of an energy in the formation of this crystal is basically so there's this thing where depending on where you travel, when I say where you travel, I mean like your experience of traveling. And it's not just you, it's not just me, it's every being. So anything that travels, even when something's being formed that is not a being and it holds energy in a different way, like crystals, for example, it still counts because it's the rules of Earth, basically. The something that gets created or exists on Earth has to hold down the rules of Earth, if that makes sense, or it wouldn't even be here. Traveling to Earth, being on Earth and traveling, that POV is basically changing different realities or being and experiencing your reality, and sometimes realms, but we won't go there because this is about tektite. Traveling by sea is basically realms and sometimes dimensions. Traveling by air, dimensions. So traveling by portals, and this is for people who follow my content. If you're curious about this, please ask in the comments. I can explain a little bit more, but I think everyone who's watching the video is gonna get it. But portals are an element. You can watch my or listen to my podcast, which is on Spotify and YouTube. But anyway, so it talks about this. And anyway, so the portals, if you're traveling or experiencing a portal, people think that they're doorways, but that's not necessarily true. It depends on what's going on. If it's been manipulated, like when you manipulate water into ice, it could be something like these areas that are overlapping, and so you can only experience that experience of another planet, half that planet and half Earth. So it depends on what it is. But traveling through portals, like natural ones that come from Earth, is another thing as well. And Earth, remember, people think Earth is just where we're standing on top, but Earth is the whole atmosphere, everything around it, including the other planets. But again, we're not going there because of this. So now you know a little bit about that. That is a very tiny thing about a very big topic that I am going to cover in the future. It's like a little sneak peek of a bigger topic. And it's more when people are exploring different things like realms and dimensions, and they're like, what is this? I have covered it in my Patreon as well. But again, we're going back to Moldavite and tektite. So now that you know this, the traveling of this is what makes it unique. Because even the formations that are formed with gas and water and sometimes other formations, they're still not traveling quite that as much. I'd say volcano is the closest to traveling, and actually people do compare the volcanic rocks to Moldavite, which is commonly known as obsidian. But I don't think that they have as much in common as we think. They have the end of the story in common, where it's a type of material that melts. So you will not get the same, vibe or information as you would from tektite and obsidian. So it's going to be a completely different vibe. The things that you will get is that last contact of that, melting. So that melting and turning into a glass and that chemical reaction, you will be able to have something in common with that. And even if that's like a part of your story. So like if you're if you have a lot of that kind of I want to say fire, but it's more than fire, but magma and things like that in your energy, and that's one of the things you're exploring at the moment, either of these would be good. It wouldn't make a difference. But if you're going to get your bang for your buck, basically, you would still get that kind of reaction, but you'd also get the extra elements. So because we said it passed through air and it passed through a portal, like for real, you're going to have those two things. Now, we're gonna address the extraterrestrial part. So from the POV that we talked about in the beginning, yes, it seems extraterrestrial. It seems like it's coming from somewhere else. But in reality, it is, but it's coming in a dimension way, like in a different dimension. And that involves time periods. It involves different places, like different rules, which could be a planet, but it's not like what we think, where it comes from a planet like that we think, because those are representations of something else. It's what we see as the representations. It's what we need to stream from Earth. So the things we see other than Earth represent something else, just like everything else, to be honest. So you know how I say in astrology, when your birthday kind of represents your like laser point of where you are, and different, all the different things that we have in our birth chart and stuff like that, they're usually like, again, portals we have easy access to, that everyone does as well, but ours is very specific. So it's going to be very easy and always around us, and like just we're gonna see things in that lens if we don't go past that and keep like looking into who we are. We're gonna be just that, which we've seen that everywhere, right? People go like, I'm a blah blah blah, and even that, there's like way more than that, right? So when you're using this crystal, it's kind of like this. So like if you're using one that is the Moldavite, that is from the Czech Republic, so that kind of their birthday is, and what it streams from, and its storyline is in combination where that portal situation happened mixed with where it landed. And keep in mind, these are extremely old. They're like millions and millions of old. I mean, a lot of stones are, but these are just very extremely old. Like the young ones are very old. I highly recommend looking it up to see how old they are. But that's something to keep in mind. Like we think, oh, this just happened probably. No, it was so long ago. Like we didn't even have names for the areas that they were. So you're going to be able to get that information from that time as well. So this is the kind of stuff, this is why people kind of go, the cliche little things people say where they go nuts. This is why they go nuts. It's because there's so much about it. Like there's so much to explore. And people are usually just, okay, I'm going to get this for my heart chakra. And it's not that. It's like you have access to so much more, and it holds so much more. And it kind of shows you how complicated travel is. And when we travel and we just walk across the street, or right now I just went to a garden that's nearby, how much that changes things. So it can teach you about that travel. So to be honest, if you want to be cliche and actually get something out of it, I would take it with you traveling. Even if it's just to go to the grocery store.